Now, I mentioned that I was going to talk to you about a different type of hard drive that you'll see in today's world. And actually, it's this type of hard drive that you're going to see a lot more of as we move into the future. Okay, so whereas right now, today, you still see a lot of the actual magnetic hard drives, little by little, as this new type of SSD, which is solid state drive. Okay, these are the new types of hard disks that we're seeing out there. And as they start to grow in size, and as the price starts to come down, this is the type of hard drive that you're going to see moving into the future become commonplace. Okay, and again, right now they're not that big. I mean, yes, on the screen here I'm showing you as big as a 512 gigabyte drive, and that's great. I mean, that is absolutely great. 512 gig. That's not that small, and that's great that we're already up to that size. But that 512 gig drive is probably going to cost you between $500 and $1,000, at least for a reputable name brand. Versus you could get double that. You could get a terabyte drive of a standard magnetic hard drive. What did I say, for probably like $50 or $60? All right, so that's what I'm talking about as far as why we don't see these used too much. Now, why do we want to use solid state hard drives? Well, first of all, there's no moving parts. Okay, nothing moves. It's all done with the circuitry and the electronics. You don't have motors. You don't have moving arms. So, what's the benefit of that? Well, number one, doesn't break as easily. Number two, much, much, much faster performance. I mean, it is crazy how fast data can transfer back and forth from these solid state drives. Now, these drives also come in many different form factors. Okay, there's a 1.8 inch, 2.5 inch, and 3.5 inch. Those are the three standard sizes. Okay, and the idea here is they're trying to match up with the hard drives that we're used to using. A 3.5 inch drive is the typical hard drive that we would be looking at in a desktop computer. 2.5 inch standard size that we'd have for a laptop, and 1.8 inch for some of our smaller devices. Okay, so just keep in mind, SSD, it's the way of the future. It's lightning fast, very reliable. Although I should point out one thing when it comes to reliability. And I'll be interested to see, check back with me in 2 or 3 years. I want to see where we're at with things. But as far as the reliability of long-term data storage on an SSD, in the past, this basically uses the same technology and the same idea as your little SD cards. And we'll talk about SD cards in just a moment, but the little SD cards that you use to store digital pictures on. And they've always said in the past, don't keep your pictures on your SD card. The SD card was never designed for long-term storage. It was really designed for very fast storage, but not long-term reliability. Well, now that we're moving to these solid-state hard drives, and it's using basically the same technology, I want to see if they're maybe starting to determine that it can handle long-term storage, or if we're going to run into a situation where stuff starts to get corrupt over a certain shorter period of time. So we'll have to see.